there's some interesting thoughts on when it works to suddenly enrich the situation and when it doesn't. I don't know how good this technique is, but you can either hold yourself like as a code of honor. If I didn't prep it, I'm not going to add to it, right? I'm not going to do it. Prep is prep. I'm stuck with it. Let's go. That's one thing you can do. Another thing is to say, well, I'm going to hold myself to an honor system that if I had thought of this during prep, I would have done it. So I'll do it. It's there, and I'm treating it as if I had prepped it from the start. And I'm not going to treat it as my magic wands to make things go the way I want. I'm just going to say, well, you dummy, you should have done it. Put it in there now. And if you do that, then maybe it's not as bad as just throwing things in there as an ongoing tap dance, as I keep calling it. Right, because that's the danger, right? You just keep throwing things in there that keep things going. You know, it's easy to fall into that trap. Because I fall into that trap too, right? It's tempting. You're so entertaining. You're so brilliant, right? It's easy to give yourself, you know, the big GM gold star. Ah, right. Then I put this in there, and that was awesome. Real easy to do that, but you will patronize your players, and you will remove their agency as participants at the table with you if you do that too much or in the wrong way. So it's a very interesting reflection to say, well, you're criticizing yourself, saying, well, I'm not that experienced. Well, you know what? You are now.
Right. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think one thing for sure is for me, it wasn't necessarily like a code of honor type thing, but there were some things, and I can't remember offhand what it was, but I did take from the session a direction a little bit or if there was any inspiration during the way, I would jot down a few notes here and there. Yeah. You know, it's like, I will do that next time, and then I would, put that in the next session. But I didn't want to. I didn't want to really control too much.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's a good instinct on your part, because in a way, if I could maybe speculate, you liked Hanu and Pixie and you wanted to see what they would do if they were able to choose what to do.
Right, exactly.
And so it's that kind of respect and interest that we have in each other at the table. Mm-hmm. You know, I say, Scott likes what we do. We like what he does. We're interested. We're interested in this material that we're working with because the game book is offering us cool things. That we can actually have a really good time here. We don't need, God help us. Thank God the game failed, because otherwise we would have 50 canned adventure supplements out there. Right? Because this game was published in the early 90s, and you know what you were supposed to do in the early 90s. You were supposed to put out your core book, you were supposed to put out the player's companion, and then you were supposed to put out your modules, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And I don't want those.
Right. Yeah. I was reading this morning, actually, or last night. I was reading in the very beginning of the book. It's got Welcome to Darkurthe Legends. It's got a whole section here talking about how they were going to have magazines where people would mail in their ideas, and
it's all the ideal of where Gary did it. Gary Gygax did it. Dragon Magazine came out. The world loved Dragon Magazine. All the adventures went to Dragon Magazine, and it's going to be fantastic. And you're kind of like, well, maybe there's a difference between a musical instrument and even sheet music that you can play, but you can still make your own, right?
Yeah.
And karaoke. On the other hand, karaoke.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And if you think about it, all those event kind of supplements that we're talking about, all those adventure modules, that's fucking singing karaoke.
You're absolutely right. It is. I never ever thought of it like that, but that's
And why would
sometimes
but
very
this
badly.
but it's like this trumpet or this lead guitar that I've just bought. It's awesome. I want to play this guitar. It's good guitar.
Yeah.
Why would I sing karaoke why would I have this great guitar? I just need a plastic one with no strings if I'm going to sing karaoke, right? I mean, I can do all the things I'm going to do, right?
Very interesting, and I've never really thought about it like that, but applying to music, because that's the way that I play guitar, and it's I don't have any training, and I don't have any.
Right.
Everything that I play is my own songs. So,
well, even if
funny.
you were to play a song that someone else wrote, it is still you playing, and it's still going to be your. If someone's watching, if we're at a party and you do that, I mean, I'll sing along with you to a song we both know, but it's us enjoying music and making the music together. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not really about whether the inspirational material came from someone else. That's cool. That's not a problem. You making up your own is especially cool, but it's okay. We're still doing it together. It's when we're not doing it. It's when the guitar you're holding, expensive or as sophisticated or as basically useful as it is, you're not using it. You're just wearing it while we sing along in the karaoke bar, right? I mean, and that's in many ways. I mean, when anyone ever tells you system doesn't matter, all you need is a good GM, that's what they're doing. They're saying, have a nice time playing karaoke. The GM will take care of you. So whenever anybody says that to me, I just groan. I'm like, okay, you're repeating shit you heard that you obviously haven't thought about. The last thing I ever want is that good GM.
Oh, wow. Well, that's pretty insightful there. I haven't played in a while to know whether those sessions were good, fun and sessions. With I will say, for me, the upkeep, the managing the combat with the skeletons, that was hard.
Right.
That was very difficult.
There's some skills involved there, but it's mainly, but it's not like the heavens would fall if you fucked up here and there, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Just trying to keep things, right. It was a little stressful, I'll say, but aside from that, I mean that I enjoyed. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I would like to pick up either new characters.
You have no idea the trouble that the two of us could get in now that our heads are inflated with all this, all this divine direction and, the trouble that Hanu and Pixie could get into by making promises that they make and the getting the investment behind them of people who would back them on this. And who knows? This is one thing that Robbie and I talked about before you joined us. The genius of the game is that you can set up an advancement box of any kind, right? With the competency levels for the required skills and the benefits at various levels. And you can do it not only for crazy stuff like the warlocks and necromancer kings and Eridon and people like that, but you can also do it for ordinary things, just like they do for the guilds, right? You can just do it for ordinary things. So that your character doesn't have to be a dark wizard, who barters his soul. Your character could just be like a guild guy, right? Just a guild guy in this guild. And whenever and however you get all those competency levels for that skill, or that all the skills up to that competency level, whenever. It's not like you're under the gun. You can do it whenever you do it. It's okay. But if you do, now you are, master of a chapter for this guild. Your life changes, right? So you can do that. So why don't sooner. I mean, if we were to play in Ilwraith, like get back to Ilwraith, get back into the cities and the settled lands of Ilwraith,
Yeah.
you'd probably need to come up with a box like that for the priests of the living gods, which the game doesn't provide. What's the priests of the living gods like? What's their advancement like? What's their skills that are important? What are they like socially? Right? Don't you think that maybe the priests of the living gods and the living gods don't always quite see eye to eye?
Well, especially after, I mean, I've only had an idea of them conceptually, and that's just with the whole book. I mean,
right. Oh, yeah,
I
the
haven't
whole
really
book's like
focused
that.
on them.
You can go anywhere in
Right.
there, and you suddenly, as the GM, really ought to come up with a whole bunch of those.
Oh yeah, during play though, it's like it really, there's so much tension possible with so many aspects. And when you were talking about the social class
Right.
being a big, that is absolutely right. And I had never even considered that either. I mean, down to, and that's not even just with the living gods. I mean,
No, it's all over the place.
I
I mean, you look all through those different settings, and it is rock solid in there. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And that's something you don't ordinarily find in a lot of fantasy games that's handled this well. Even the ones that try to describe all the social levels, like the really detailed medieval games, they sort of miss the tension of social class. They sort of miss the way it feels, right, for you and the other characters.
They also want to cage it,
right,
in like a advancement, like class levels,
yeah.
And it's not. There's so much bleed through, in reality.
Exactly,
like a noble that has fallen is still a noble. He's just.
I agree. I mean, it's really interesting and really, if you treat it as the vehicle for situations and responses and skill use and stuff, it's very different from it just being an advancement system for improvement, right? It's very different. So, there's the game really, I mean, I want to go back. I want to play in Maldor. I want to go play in the city of Kitsch. I want to go play.
I know there's so many.
I mean, it's full of, it specifically says all the races can be found there. It's on the edge of Maldor. Maldor is this like warlock haunted whack place. And the Death Masks have their headquarters there. Hot assassin base.
Oh, man.
Darn.
It's crazy.
I'm there. And I'm going to play a really different character when I play there. I can tell you that much. So, it's really interesting to realize it is a game that I would love to see lots of people playing. So,
absolutely. I'm going to do my best locally here to get people on.
Yeah. I got to go. I'll talk to you later on. So
you got it. We'll see you later.
Take care, Scott.